Let's rewrite the narrative for our kids and for ourselves. Adults need to hear this message too. Apply this to your romantic relationships. Apply this to your relationships with your friends and your neighbors and your parents. Like, this is just the message that culturally we need to be hearing. We need to be rewriting these narratives for all of us so that all of us can feel seen and all of us can get our needs met. The last video that I posted was about welcoming a child's full range of emotions so that they feel safe to attach to you, because attachment is more than love. Well, very shortly after I posted that video, someone who I love gave me a really great opportunity to expand upon that a little bit. So what I mean is, someone that I love, who loves my kid, showed quite a bit of what seemed to me like panic the moment that my kid started to cry. She started to cry, and then this person's response was, "Oh, don't cry," almost immediately, as if they were maybe sad that she was crying, or it seemed to me like a deep sympathy, like, "Oh, I'm so sad that you're sad. Don't cry. Like, do anything but that, but don't cry, because there's something that's happening inside of me the moment that you cry." Today we're going to talk about how that kind of response has an impact on the child's ability to attach. We're going to talk about what that feels like from the child's perspective, and another way to reframe that. We need to reframe the narrative around emotions. Hi, my name is Melissa. I am a former therapist, a current stay-at-home mom, and on this channel, I am talking about attachment and its relationship to mental health, parenting, spirituality, and intentional living. To me, I believe that attachment is one of the major solutions to many of today's problems, and that if we really knew and embodied the lessons of attachment, then we could change the world and potentially save lives. So I kind of get that reaction of, "Oh, don't cry." I often feel that way of, oh, when my daughter is crying, either because she's sad or she's mad or she's scared, whatever it is, I have a knee-jerk or conditioned reaction to that. I can feel sad that she feels sad. I can feel angry that she feels angry. I often feel like a deep empathy for when she feels scared. I personally don't struggle with when my child feels scared. I feel like I'm able to show up for that. But the sadness kind of emotions and the anger kind of emotions, that's kind of tricky. So I really empathize and understand that, like, just reaction to essentially try to fix it. Try to fix the emotion, to stop the emotion. This is why that's actually more harmful than it is helpful, because emotions are signals. Emotions are signals to what a person needs. If a person is angry, that is a signal that there's some need not being met. If a person is sad, that is a signal that, again, something that they needed or wanted didn't happen. They're trying to express some sort of need. And when we're talking about our children, it is imperative for their survival that you respond to these cries, that you respond to these emotions however they manifest. A child's job is to signal. That's why almost immediately when a baby is born, if they need something, they cry. It's instinctive, it's immediate. A baby's job, a child's job, is to signal And if you've been watching my videos, hopefully you're picking up on that the parent's job is to respond. Respond and fulfill the need that the child is saying is important for their survival. Because children are incredibly dependent, especially from the ages of 0 to 3, if not 0 to like 7. They are almost completely dependent on us. They can't feed themselves. They can't wipe their own butts. They can't put on their own clothes. Like these are skills that take years and years to develop, and they often only develop by watching you do it day after day. So their job is to signal. Our job is to respond and fulfill the need that they're saying is important for them. So when we say stop expressing your emotion, the information that they're picking up from that is that, 1, my needs don't matter, and 2, expressing my needs actually kind of gets me in trouble somehow, or leads to some sort of rejection. It also can bring in the feeling or the belief that like there's something wrong with me if I have a need, or there's something wrong with me if I have an emotion, that I am something that needs to be fixed. My hope is that we rewrite the narrative around emotions. That is, if a child is crying, that we think to ourselves, yes, please signal to me so that I know what you need. Think about the difference that would make. If your child was crying, and because either they were hungry, or they were cold, or they were mad because someone took their toy away, no matter what it is, or like they're mad at you because, God forbid, you screwed on their water bottle lid and they wanted to do it. It's like they have an emotion. And what if we, before we reacted, we just thought to ourselves, this is a good thing. My child is signaling to me that they have a need of some kind. That's a good thing. It's healthy. I want this to happen. My child trusts me with their emotions. My child is looking to me to fulfill their needs. What an honor, what a privilege. Where it gets really tricky is that sometimes we don't have the skills to fulfill the need, especially if we were insecurely attached to our parents. We didn't develop the skills of how to respond warmly, mutually, with empathy to their need. So like the example about like your kid is angry because you put the water bottle lid on and they wanted to. Sometimes we're like, I don't know how to give them the skill of how to move through this anger. If they're hungry, sure, I know how to do that. I know how to feed them. But if they're mad at me because I did something they wanted to do, like, how do I fulfill that need? And at that point, the need is just to be seen and to be known. That like, oh, you wanted to do this and I didn't give you the opportunity to do that. You wanted to, you wanted to learn a new skill. You wanted to express your autonomy. You wanted to have some sense of control over your environment. That's good. I'm glad you wanted to do that. I did do it already. It's okay that you feel that way. You can either just proceed without unscrewing the lid, or you can unscrew it and say, go ahead. It depends on your situation. Do you have to be somewhere so you have to leave? So you just don't let them screw the lid on, and you have to just let them be angry and hold them and say, you're allowed to feel that way. I love you. Maybe next time I will give you the opportunity to do it. Or sometimes you have the time and you're like, you know what? I'm going to unscrew the lid. Go ahead. Usually after the tantrum is over, then maybe they want to do it again. But sometimes it's just so tricky for us to give them the skill or to give them what they need when we probably didn't receive what we needed in those moments. We didn't receive those skills. And so it's a little tricky. I have many videos upcoming that explore this in depth, more skills, more kind of filling in the gaps for the things that we didn't receive. And now we're parents and we're expected to kind of know what to do. One of the things that happens is when we weren't given these skills is that instead of having empathy, we have sympathy. The example that I gave at the beginning of the oh, don't cry. I think that is a sympathetic response and not an empathetic response. Sympathy meaning that now I feel bad for you, that you feel sad or upset, as opposed to I don't feel bad, but I can feel for you. And I can see that you need something, and so I'm going to step up to the plate and help you with that need. As opposed to, I'm going to tell you to stop crying and then maybe cut off the communication that would let me know what it is that you need. There go, not giving you the thing that you need, that you're asking for in the first place, which often can lead to just more crying and disorientation and more disconnection, which, if this happens a lot, can lead to insecure attachment down the road. So my encouragement for us is to do the best we can to not feel bad, but to see if we can feel the need. Try not to feel the emotion that the child is feeling. Can you feel the need that the child is trying to communicate to you? This is easier said than done, especially if you are someone like me who is really used to or conditioned, or maybe it's just natural part of my makeup where I very much absorb other people's emotions. I'm very open in that area where I can just feel and sense people's energy. If you're like that, this is going to be tricky, and you have to really build the skill over time and practice, grounding down and holding your own space to hold the other person, your child's space, and allow them to have their emotion and not do what my old therapy supervisor used to say, which was to dive the wreck. What he meant was, with the analogy of a shipwreck, is that when a client, in this case, if you're in psychotherapy, when the client is fully in their emotion, to not dive into the shipwreck, down underneath the waves, down submerged deep into the waters with them. But the most helpful thing that a therapist can do is to stay on top of the surface, keep your eyes, on the shipwreck, but don't dive the wreck. That same thing. This is what I'm talking about with kids. Don't dive the wreck. Don't feel their emotions. Have empathy. Say, I can see your emotion. I get that. If I were you, I would be feeling the same way. Thank you for communicating to me what your need is. If I need time to figure out what that need is, then you need to give yourself that time. Give yourself the time to figure it out, even if they're crying. Hold them. If they don't want to be held and they run away, let them run away. And just stay there and be still and breathe and think to yourself, what do they need? What are they signaling to me? You're allowed to take your time. You're allowed to slow down. They need it, and you probably need it too. Do the best you can to remember that their emotions are not anything to be fixed, nothing to be stopped. It's just communication. Another thing that you can think about is the acronym for the word pain, PAIR. It's not how you spell pain. PAIN. Pay attention intensely now. If you think your child is in pain, pay attention intensely now. Be present. Look at them. Pay attention. Feel into, with empathy, not diving the wreck, but with empathy, what are they trying to tell me? Emotions are just communication to get your needs met. That's it. Let's rewrite the narrative for our kids and for ourselves. Adults need to hear this message too. Apply this to your romantic relationships. Apply this to your relationships with your friends and your neighbors and your parents. Like, this is just the message that culturally we need to be hearing. We need to be rewriting these narratives for all of us, so that all of us can feel seen and all of us can get our needs met. And again, if you are the parent, remember that this is something that you might need to be working on for yourself, actually listening to your own cries, even if it's not literally crying, your own emotions. Where are your areas of pain? Where do you need to be paying more attention now to yourself to understand what do you need so that you can feel more safe and grounded and cared for, and then maybe to feel more alive and vibrant and satisfied and successful and peaceful and in awe and delight with your life. I mean, I think that's what we're all aiming for. Not to say that like I got all the answers, but I'm saying I am on this road with you. This is something I am practicing and prioritizing in my life on a regular basis. We're in this together, people. Let's do it. So please do the best you can to also remember that our kids are divine forces of nature. They need you, and you're a divine force of nature too. You need you, and we all need each other. Thanks for listening.